So I'm just going to show you sort of how to set up the hurricane tube by almost going in reverse here. So we've got the hurricane tube working here. The power supply is low voltage and it has a very long cable that comes with it, and because it has a split in the cable, if you want you can get an extension that fits in here, so the hurricane tube can be a very long way away from the power supply. So the power supply itself looks like this when it comes out of the box, so you can choose your country specific adaptation, and that will now plug into a British plug, but there are other recognizable formats there. So when you first received it, this cable would be tucked underneath the shroud. The shroud itself would be secured with screws, which I've taken out, and which allows me to lift this shroud. Again, the tube itself would not be connected when you first unpack this. It comes in two boxes. So you would lift the shroud and then attach the tube with these 4 bolts. These receivers that we might have seen earlier in the video wouldn't be there either, so those would be taken out. And here's the other end of the power supply. I believe that is plugged in when it arrives. If it's not, that plugs in there. The power then cable comes out and through a little mouse hole at the back here. So you take out your cable, add your receivers if you've got them and you want them under the shroud, and then put the tube on. You also receive in the pack your polystyrene beads, so they need to be added to the top. The top is actually also screwed on, so you'll be removing a screw there to put the pack in, and then simply replace the shroud and put the screws back in and connect to your power supply, and it's as easy as that. So when you receive your hurricane tube, you will need to take the lid off and put the beads in. Don't do this with the tube fan on. When I was developing this product, I had a very powerful fan, and I switched it on before I put the lid on once, and blew 1,000 pieces of glitter I was using at the time and the inner tube out. I mean, I blew it 10 feet in the air, this thing, and I caught it, and there was no one around to see this moment of well, it was quite. I mean, I was having to hold the outer tube. I was having to perch the outer tube on the top of this fan that was itself round, and so therefore I was sort of holding it, and I managed to reach out and grab the inner tube that had flown 10 feet in the air. But anyway, but if I were to take this lid off now, then these beads would, there aren't any beads. But anyway, you couldn't possibly pour any beads in with the fan on, so obviously you switch it off and just lift the lid. There are a couple of screws here. Take those screws out, lift the lid, pour the contents of the bag in, and then remember to replace the lid. That's where you could go wrong. You could forget to replace the lid before turning it on, and that would send beads throughout the room, and there probably wouldn't be anybody there to see you catch them.